What's up, everybody? It's your girl Denise, your host of Shae Chronicles, and welcome back. I have a really good episode for you guys today. If you watched earlier this week, you would have saw a preview, pretty much a bonus episode of what I'm going to be discussing today. And I have to say, we're at another milestone. So let's just do the whole, housekeeping of the podcast before I even get going. If you're new to my podcast, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for wanting to be a part of my journey. Thank you for peeping in, just checking me out. I'm grateful. I truly am. I believe my story is no different from anyone else's, but it is just the journey of Denise. It's my personal experiences through some of these common triumphs that we all go through. And I am here to just really talk my way through life and share my experiences as it happens. So right now in my life, if you go back to my podcast and just view some of my previous episodes, you'll see a huge progression of where I am from, let's just say, I started this podcast last year in August. So I would say, actually, that's not true. I started my blog last year in August. I started the podcast this year in January, and I have to say the podcast is really just an extension of the blog. So if you get a chance, check out ShaeChronicles.com and definitely get caught up on the blog. It will give you a lot of insight on my background and how far I've come to now. So if you guys been here, what is up? First of all, let me just tell you guys, as you guys remember last week, I was really discussing with you guys, I had a lot of uphill battle these past 6 weeks. And I think a lot of it had to do with just God trying to get my attention, trying to tell me something or trying to keep me focused. I kept feeling very distracted. Obviously, I had a lot of hard and difficult decision to make, right? That was like my issue in April, like at the end of April, early May. Then after that, I was dealing with a lot of learning how to embrace the process, right? Understanding that things might not go my way, but how to pivot. I had to figure this shit out as I'm going on. And lastly, obviously during entrepreneurship, I'm so dedicated, I'm so busy with business that I don't have time for a personal life. So last week I kind of dabbed on, just putting myself out there, but learning a huge lesson in life by not trusting my gut. So today I just want to come back and just realign everything. I have to tell you that this week has been absolutely amazing. I've been able to really take the time I needed to focus on those triumphs and see how far I've come. But also I took the time to realize, what am I taking from this? Like, what was God trying to teach me? One thing I know for sure is God is opening so many doors for me. I'm always grateful, and in my prayers, I'm constantly asking for more. And why? Because it feels good here. I don't want to go back. This feels amazing. I want to stay in this space as much as possible. So I'm going to constantly ask God to increase my territory. One thing I know for certain with these last 6 weeks, I felt empty. I felt a void. I felt like something was missing and I needed it to be filled. And it's interesting because, sorry guys, a lot of things that I had experienced these past 6 weeks definitely would say were distractions to see how good my focus was. Okay, they were distractions that I've seen before in my life. Because everything's a pattern, guys. It just comes back year after year in different ways. The question is whether or not we're going to change. The question is whether or not are we catching it and are we changing our behavior? Are we choosing to continue to adapt? I am fully woke, okay? And you're not going to catch me sleeping. No more. So I have to say I was quite proud of myself for how I handled each situation. I did kind of beat myself up because I'm like, oh my God, like, why am I even experiencing these situations again? And I finally realized, like, you know what, that's just life. Life is gonna have shit that comes to you, right? What needs to change is how you go about handling it. So I had to change my perspective on that because I really was beating myself up. Like, God, like, what am I doing wrong that I'm getting challenged like this? But no, it's never anything wrong with some trials, right? The only thing we want to get out of that is get through the process, embrace it, understand that you're going through something. Okay? It took me a long time to like finally see that and say, I see you, God. I fucking see your ass. And I'm paying attention. And God is like, that's right. That's what I want you to do. Now show me your greatness. Show me what I gave you. Show me that everything that I'm doing for you in your life, that you're really taking it in. Show me that you truly are living, right? And challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. I'm no longer beating myself up. I'm thanking God for the process, because in the process, which is pretty much the same for everyone, it's just different circumstance. Okay, so in the process, I recognized game. Like, it was very familiar for me. Very familiar. God put me in places where I was vulnerable again, right? He put me in places where I felt empty again. He put me in places where I felt fear again. And it was up to me to demolish those emotions. Okay, it's up to me to realize that they're happening, realize why they're happening, and fix it. I took full accountability these last 6 weeks. And now going into just a whole new perspective, I feel really great. I think my last task was, you know what, Denise, you're going to plateau sometimes. And those plateaus are the moments where you're going to be tried the most, right? Because you just been through so much. I had just launched Neck Piece. Things were great. Business is great. But I started to waver. I think I reminded you guys of this when I spoke about my trip to Miami. It was bringing up a lot of emotions, right? Because I want financial independence. Now, not saying that I didn't have the money. I felt like I was in a good place to have a trip. But if I'm looking for financial dependence, was it the right time? You know, having those type of conversations, mature conversations with myself, making sure that I'm thinking long run. Because longevity is the game, okay? I do not want no quick fix. I don't want a quick $20,000. I want to be sitting on legacy, okay? So I decided to title this podcast Discipline, because one thing that I have to say was my discipline was there. And if I didn't have that discipline in my spirituality, that discipline in my mind to not allow myself to let go and release myself into that fear, into those distractions, into that vulnerability. Now, vulnerability is fine as long as it's in a safe place. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable and exposed to some wolves, they will prey. And if you're not strong enough, in your mind to realize that, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So I really was caught in a lot of spaces, you guys, that last 6 weeks. And that plateau is something that's going to keep coming in my life. And I have to continue to find ways to get through it. Embrace the process. So discipline was quite important. Since I've taken on this path of just really holding myself accountable and extremely being intentional in everything I do, I am learning so much about myself. I'm seeing myself for who I am. And a lot of it, sometimes I'm like, wow, you know, it's like I knew I was like this, but I didn't know. Or I hid it about myself because maybe it was something personally that I didn't like. And now I'm realizing I have to embrace these things about myself and just move intentionally. You know that, everything I do is for the positive, it's for the best. And I have to stop looking at things like a negative. So I've been very much so focused on turning any negative into a positive. I'm excited. I'm happy in this space, you guys. It's a beautiful thing. So what I decided to do was I didn't want to feel the flesh. I felt during the plateau process, what was my weakest moment was the fleshful moments. And I'll elaborate on that. For instance, I spoke, I think it was either last podcast or the podcast before, I spoke about feeling lonely, being so committed to myself that I feel lonely. And I think I ended up reverting back on that and saying, that's not true. That was my flesh speaking in that moment. My flesh trying to convince myself that I'm lonely. And which is not true, because one, my kids and I relationship is amazing. We talk about everything. So I have a great home environment. I have wonderful friends who support me, who I'm able to be vulnerable with and transparent with. So it was like the flesh was trying to make me feel alone. And alone, abandonment, it's all triggers from my past. And you got to be careful. You have to really watch those type of things. I'm always told that I overthink sometimes, which is true. I know that I think a lot into things. But when it comes to my growth, if there's anything that I can see that I'm going to improve on, I'm going to improve on that. And I know for a fact that one of my weaknesses before was feeling alone, feeling abandoned, feeling the need to attach myself to someone, okay, a person. So my flesh was just really craving that. And, my desire is to always be okay in my own space. We all need people, but we all need to make sure that we come first. We are that first person in our lives. And I don't want to lose that. I'm in a good place. I can't even tell you the last time I've been this happy. I felt this confident. I felt this beautiful. I felt this fearless. I cannot tell you the last time I felt this way. So I want to hold on to that. I decided that since I've been on this journey, spiritually, I am there. I am truly connected with God. In the moments where I fall short, I understand, like, dang, did I pray today? Did I listen to my worship? Did I really intercede? Did I have a conversation? And it's those moments where I say, dang, I didn't, or I fell out of alignment. I didn't work out that morning. I didn't do my praise and worship. When I start falling out of alignment, I find that my spirituality wavers. So I know that I have to stay aligned in order to stay focused spiritually, And then even with my mind, self-care is absolutely important for me. I have to feel good about myself, and I've taken it upon myself to make sure I am dressing up, that I am doing my hair, I'm taking care of my skin, that I'm embracing my femininity. Like, these are things that I threw to the back burner. Didn't care. I looked at myself in the mirror and hated what I saw. Couldn't stand it. And in the past, it didn't matter because I was normalizing staying in a traumatic state. And now that I'm here, I wish I would go back. Never. I'm not. So it's very important that, again, just staying aligned with myself and paying attention to things that are happening. When things go wrong, don't just say my life is shit. Start sitting down and really start to dissect what life is trying to teach you. What is it trying to hand you? If it feels like deja vu, or if it feels very familiar, pay attention to that. Because more than likely, this is your second time around trying to do it the right way. Change it up. Pay attention and grow from it. It's so amazing because when I look back in all of this, you guys, I think and I say, how is it possible for me to think living like that was normal? How, Sway? How? I have no idea. But I'm thankful that I've been absolutely delivered. But just to bring things full circle, since I feel aligned spiritually, I feel very much in tune with myself, and my mind is very intentional. I think the only thing I was lacking was body. I know that during the plateau period of my life, a lot of that stress, a lot of those distractions surrounded food. I was tired. I ate bad. Chips, candies. I even started drinking soda, which I am not a soda drinker. Just eating junk food, and some days not even eating at all. And I started realizing, like, okay, Denise, life is good. This plateau was a test. It tested you a lot. And you know what you got from it. But what can you do to prepare yourself for the next plateau? What can you do to prepare yourself to better get past this? Not saying that you did a bad job. You did an amazing job. But what can you do so next time you're better equipped And maybe next time it won't take 6 weeks. Maybe next time you want to just start walking and fixing shit. You know what I mean? Like, letting it roll off your shoulder. Let's get to that point. And I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. I'm very much aware that I need to start strengthening this muscle and working on this. So what I decided to do was, I'm sorry guys, something bit me on my leg and it's itching so bad. I decided to take on a complete lifestyle change. I'm ready. I am absolutely ready. When my mother passed away, she was 54. As far as we knew, she was somewhat healthy. You know, I didn't really know too much about her health, but you know, she was living and living well. So when she died, it was a shock to all of us. I'm just starting to realize as I get older, things are different for me. We start to embrace life differently. We start to embrace health differently and you have things to live for. Not only yourself, but I have 2 kids that deserve to have a mom that's going to be a part of their life. You know, watch them graduate from high school, watch them graduate from college, buy their first house, get married, whatever it may be. I want to be a part of that. But I also want to allow myself and provide myself the tools that's necessary to be successful. So what I decided to do was completely change my eating habits. I have just opted to join forces with one of my really great friends. He's been working on an amazing program. And I've just watched his life transform in a way that blew me away. And I felt very connected to him because we were going through the same things as far as like spiritually and mentally. But where I lacked, he was improving. And that was the body muscle that was getting his health right. And now it's like his mind is elevated on a whole nother level. And I want to get there. I'm like, yay, where about a ticket? I want in. You know, let me own this train to continue to evolve. And, you know, if you're moving intentionally and you know there's things that you're lacking, why not get the nutrients or get the education or change what is necessary to get there? You know, allow yourself to be successful. Believe in yourself. Be loyal to yourself. You know, I spent a lot of my life being so disciplined and being loyal to other people. Like it was a part of a lifestyle, like that loyalty of, nah, I can't do that. You know, nah, I can't think about me. That's selfish. Nah, I can't do this. It's too loud up in a room that's a little bit more soft. You know, well, realizing that a lot of our lives we spent making other people comfortable, nurturing other people, okay, like speaking life into other people and totally neglecting ourselves. And, you know, for me personally, it was like I felt like anything I did for myself was complete selfish and, you know, some bullshit. And now that I'm in this space, I'm like, why Sway? Okay? Like, why would you do that? So I'm really excited to join forces with him. I trust him. I believe in his vision, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for me to really advance in my growth. And really, when that next plateau hits, you know, it's going to take me to a whole nother level because this shit is going to roll off my shoulders, okay? And then who knows? I might have a whole ass talk show by then. Let's go ahead and manifest that. Let's just start moving forward. And I'm so serious because I see my life as anything I desire it to be. And I'm going to give my body, my mind, and my soul everything it needs so it can function at 100% at all times. At all times. And why? Because I know it's possible. And you can't sit around waiting to read some book to inspire you. I mean, if you need the book, read it. But I hope the book does inspire you. But I really hope those utensils, let me just touch on that too. Books, music, movies, other people, their stories. Those are all necessary, right? Like my podcast is no different from a book. It's people's stories coming to life And they're created to help you along the way. But it takes you to tell your story and live it. Nurture it. Write about it. Sing about it. Whatever it takes. Don't hold it in. Because that's how the world is functioning. By people living in their story and bringing it to life. And, you know, I'm just really fascinated by the idea of, why isn't this being taught to young children? Why isn't this something that is really spoken on in churches? You have all the power you need to be amazing. You can do it. And it's just, I feel just extremely enlightened in life right now. I feel, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful here as to why I'm holding on to it so tight. This life that I'm building for myself is amazing, and it only can get better. How? How, Sway, you ask? By simply exercising these muscles. Making sure your mind, reevaluate your thoughts. Stop living in hate. It's not worth it. Stop being angry all the time. Talk yourself through it. Ask yourself. Stop pointing the finger. Okay? If you feel like you need closure on a chapter, go and get that apology. Have the conversation. Speak about it. Release it. But once it's released, let it go. Try self-discipline. That's exactly why this episode is called Self-Discipline, because you have to discipline yourself to choose to change your narrative. Be disciplined enough to make more positive decisions. Be disciplined enough to live intentionally. Be disciplined enough to eat the right foods to take care of your body. Let me just tell you guys, 2 years ago, I was literally on my hospital deathbed. Okay? From all kinds of shit going wrong in my body. My organs were shutting down. Okay? I think the smallest I got was 117. I couldn't even eat. I was miserable. I had no relationship with my kids. My face had all these dark spaces on them. It was horrible. I was tormented. I cried myself to sleep every night. Nights I didn't even sleep. Choosing to say, no, I choose victory. I choose to win. I choose to be better has changed my life. And I can't lie. That book, that story, that TV show, that movie, that wasn't me. I lost my mother. I had to lose my mom to find peace, find happiness, to live in grace. I had to lose my mother. You know, and I think I grieved my mom for about just under 4 years. It took me to finally let go. And let me tell you what helped me get through that. I told myself that I needed my mom in the spiritual realm, and that's why God took her. At this point in my life, she was going to be a better mother to me in the spiritual world. And can I just say that is so true? In my prayers, I hear my mother speak back to me. When I am weak and I'm crying out for help, and I'm asking God for help, I feel my mother's arms wrapped around me. It's just amazing how if you decide to create a narrative that paints a beautiful picture, and with each brush stroke gives more depth and volume and beauty into the portrait, embrace that shit. Stroke on, create a masterpiece. But you have the ability to do it, and it's all in discipline. All in discipline. I'm really excited what's to come. I'm going to keep you guys posted on this program. I'm actually going to start recording a few extra videos. I'm going to show some meals that I create. I'm going to take you guys to the grocery store with me so you guys can start seeing the actual change. Okay? Alcohol is an absolute out. I'm no longer drinking. I have committed to not even indulging in weed anymore. I do smoke hookah occasionally, and I'm okay with that. but I am trying to discipline myself, mind, body, and soul. I hope that you guys will join me. I think it would be exciting, but I want you guys to see the next level of elevation for me. Phase 1 was just getting my spirit together. You guys saw that in the first season of my podcast. Phase 2 was focusing my mind, embracing the process. And now phase 3 is my body, making sure that I am 360 degrees evolving. I am living intentionally. I'm living healthy. I'm happy and stepping into my purpose. You guys stay tuned because the next few podcast episodes is going to be lit. I love you guys. Peace.